Good evening and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gacha Episode 9. This episode, it's meh. Nothing really happens except that there's a UFO spotted in Kyoto. Kajiki has a crush on a girl. Hotaro gets a new form and gets a stowaway. Kudo is still Kudo, being wooden. The Weird Sisters are creating what it looks like to be a dark driver. Spanner, demands answers from the Weird Sisters. You have Sabimaru and Renge taking care of Hotaro's cards, which Hotaro, I have to say, is very stupid and naive. I don't understand why he chose to leave behind his cards when, you have the Weird Sisters out there. And it doesn't matter if you're on vacation. It doesn't matter if you're out of town. It doesn't matter. If they're after you, they will go after you wherever you go. Whenever, wherever you are, they will find you. Yeah, I think that is it. And I forgot to mention too that, hey, we have an old version of Pacific Rim. We have a Godzilla versus Kong in this episode. Mind you, the graphics are still terrible. But hey, this is Toei being cheap. So let us begin this story at the place I like to call the school that never was. Why? Because for those who already seen the episode, will be like, hey, finally we have a scene at a regular high school. Because remember, since the pilot, we never seen Hotaro and Kudo inside a regular classroom. Not at all. Until now. And this case, Minato Sensei, who looks like he hasn't bathed, he looks emo, but more on that later. He tells his class that, hey, we are going on a field trip to Kyoto, which causes the students be all happy and excited. Hotaro is excited to hear the news that finally he gets a chance to visit Kyoto. You have Kajiki, who is also excited and has this magazine of phenomena, whatever. And you have Kudo, who is also reading a magazine. And the boys, I feel sorry for Kudo because she's being dragged to join Kajiki and Hotaro because Minato Sensei told his students that, hey, you guys gonna be in a group and you guys will be going on this trip independently without any supervision whatsoever. They're allowed to venture Kyoto on their own. And this is something when I was little in America and just going on field trips, we're not allowed to venture places on our own. It's always been in a group because we don't know the area, we could easily get lost, and safety. And back then, we didn't have cell phones at all. So it's very important to have all the kids, be around a teacher at all times. It's always been supervision. In this case, in Japan, it's different. Especially when I've been told by a couple of friends that apparently kids as small as a 5-year-old can go on their own to school and back. And I found it to be very surreal. But hey, it's Japan. It's different. It's a different culture. And, it is what it is. So the boys get excited, and then we lead to this next scene in Kyoto. And apparently, this priest spots a UFO. My answer to that is I don't think it's a UFO, it's a Kemi. I believe it's a Kemi. And then we move on to the restaurant scene where Hotaro is excited about the news that he's going on a field trip. And then Kajiki enters the restaurant and tells his bestie, like, hey, have you heard the news? Apparently there's been a UFO spotted in Kyoto. You know what this means? And both of the boys are getting really excited because they're like, hey, this is two birds in one stone. We could go visit Kyoto, and if we're lucky, we could spot a UFO. Yay! Yep, they were excited. So we get into the next scene after the opening credits. You have Spanner, who is searching for the Weird Sisters for some answers. He returns to the site where he fought Weird Sister number 3. And then, lo and behold, Weird Sister number 3 shows up. And she transforms into a malgam. And they both continue the fight where they left off last week. Mind you, during this fight, they're pretty much showing off that, hey, I can use multiple Kemi cards, and, I can turn one of my both hands into weapons. And then Spanner is like, yeah, bitch, I can do this too. I can do that. And you see him use 2 of his cards, and his arms get turned into weapons as well. And Spanner is like, okay, give me some answers. What is it that you're up to? Spanner, you're a smart guy. But do you seriously think that either one of those sisters were to give you answers? They're not going to give you any answers. They could have just said, it's for me to know and for you to find out. And Weird Sister number 2 said it as such, like, yeah, I'm not going to give you anything. And she disappears, which leads into the next scene where Weird Sister number 1, who's being played by a 9-year-old, is doing alchemy. And she was like, so you're still playing with your dog? And Weird Sister number 2 was like, don't worry, I will tame him soon enough. And they do their magic, and it looks like they're creating a dark driver. Are they going to use it? Probably not, because I'm sure it's going to get taken and be used by somebody else. But I don't know. And before I get into the other scene, Weird Sister number 2 is asking, where is Weird Sister number 3 at? Where is she at? According to Weird Sister number 1, apparently there's a high level 10 Kimi has been spotted, and she went to go after it. That's why she's not there. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yep. So she is gone. So we move on to Hotaro. Yes. So we move on to the scene of Kyoto Station. You see Hotaro and his team. And it's weird because last night Hotaro was happy and excited to visit Kyoto, but in this scene he looks like he hasn't slept in days. And Kudo was like, why are you like this? You weren't like this yesterday. What's going on? Apparently, Hotaro was begging Hopper 1 to stay behind and just told it to you're not allowed to come with me to the trip. I'm sorry. And you see him begging. Hopper wants to stay. Hopper 1 is like, no, I want to go with you. So you could already imagine the arguments. A human versus a Kemi grasshopper. And I'm sure Hopper 1 didn't let him go to sleep at all. I'm sure of it. But he's like, yeah, I couldn't take Hopper 1 with me as much as I wanted to. And Kudo was surprised because Kudo was like, wow, like, seriously? Because you're known to be the breaker of rules. I'm surprised that you actually follow a rule for once in your life. And Hotaro was like, Kudo, like, this is a class trip. I don't want it to mix the alchemist stuff with my regular high school stuff. Like, I don't want this trip to be messed up. I want it to be normal. Hence, that's why we get to discover that he left his Kimi cards behind for the trip, which is stupid. But more on that later. And you have Kajiki he's all like, UFO, where are you, UFO? I'm gonna find ya. I'm like, dude, you're in the middle of the day. UFOs tend to come out in the middle of the night. Dude. So Kajiki is hunting down for UFOs. Hotaro is a zombie, and Kudo is wooden as ever. And then you see Weird Sister number 3 at top of a tower, and she is pissed. She's pissed off because she sees Kamen Rider Gacha here in Kyoto. It's like, really? This kid is here? Oh, I need to create a malgam now to kill him and not have it interfere on my quest to finding this upper level Kemi. So she spots someone or someone's with a huge cup of malice in them, which she does. So we move on to the group, and they visit a shrine. They do their thing at the shrine, and then all of a sudden Kudo sees something moving in Hotaro's bag. And Kudo's like, hey, there's something moving in your backpack. And Hotaro's like, really? What is it? And then he just unzips his backpack, and lo and behold, it was Hopper 1. So Hopper 1 became a stowaway. And Hotaro's like, Hopper 1, what the hell are you doing here? I told you to, stay at home. And then Hopper 1 was all excited. He came out of the bag. And unfortunately for Hotaro, Kajiki spots Hopper 1. Hopper 1 does play with Kajiki for a little bit. And Kajiki was like, okay, hold still. I want to take a picture of you. But before he can do that, Hopper 1 just goes away. Kajiki runs after it. And Hoto is like, okay, I need to chase after them. And all the while, poor Kudo is trying to distract the priest. And so Kajiki chases after Hopper 1, but loses it. But then he stumbles across a girl named, mind you, I'm going to butcher her name, so please forgive me. Hijiri. Or is it Hijiri? I'll call her Hijiri. Who apparently shares the same interest as Kajiki in the shape of the magazine that he has. And then we get into this cutscene where Weird Sister number 3 releases 2 prisoners and then creates amalgam, while at the same time Hotaro and the gang visits Kyoto Film Studios. And instead of exploring peacefully in the studios, Kajiki was like, I'll need to find my crush, because she works here and I want to find her because I want to talk to her more and blah, 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 get to know her. And Hoto's like, okay, I will help you, Let us go hunt her down. And we see scene by scene, you see the group trying to like ask questions like, hey, have you seen this woman? Where is she at? Until they hit to the final spot, which is a haunted house. And Kudo was like, this is the final spot. Let's go inside. She was getting excited all of a sudden. And you can tell by the look of the boys' faces, like they're not excited to go inside. And they're right. Because once they got inside, they were you could hear them screaming. They're like holding hands. They're like really scared. All the while you see Kudo not getting scared, but also making fun of the boys. And then once they got out of the house, Kudo's like, hey, you want to go inside again? And Hotaro's like, hell no. There's no way in hell I'm going back there. And then one of the ghouls just came out of the house and approaches the group. And the boys just scream, and Kudo's like smiling and laughing. But lo and behold, it was Hajiri, uh, Kajiki's crush. Like, hey, Kajiki was happy. Like, hey, I wanted to see you again and talk more about the magazine. Where can we talk? And she said, well, I still have an hour to go, so you can wait for me until then. And yeah, so Kajiki leaves while Hotaro and Kudo gets approached by Minato sensei and tells him, hey, weird sister number 3 has been spotted here. Please be vigilant, be on guard. I will do the same. And he leaves. And Hotaro, all in panic mode, tells Kudo like, oh crap, I forgot. I left my Kimi cards behind at the school. And this is where I'm just gonna say to Hotaro, like, dude, again, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you go. You always need to take your cards with you, or else you're defenseless. You really are defenseless. It doesn't matter if you're in Tokyo or Kyoto or Los Angeles. These people, these villains are after you. Why did you choose to leave your Kimmys behind? I don't get it. You're stupid. You're so stupid. And this is where Hotaro frankly just like takes his cell phone and calls Renge and Sabimaru like, hey, like, can you come over to Kyoto and just give me my cards back, please? This is an emergency. And of course, I like to do this segment. Renge and Sabimaru to the rescue, because they take the cards and Renge hops on that motorcycle and Sabi is behind her and they're just riding away to Kyoto. Renge is all happy and riding the bike while Sabi is like scared and holding his iPad all tight. So as our comedic duo riding towards Kyoto, we get to, hold on, I do apologize. Because yeah, I do apologize. Yes. Kajiki and Hajiri, they're on a air quotes date, and they're pretty much talking about their origin stories and how they got into the sci-fi, occult stuff, until all of a sudden, Hajiri gets this text message that causes her to tell Kajiri, Kajiri, that, hey, like, I'm sorry, I need to cut this short, but I need to go. And she just quickly leaves. And then we move on to Minato Sensei. He spots Weird Sister number 3, and it leads to this area where it looked like studios, warehouses, which it is. I get this feeling that scene that they shot at, I think it's somewhere in Toei Studios. I don't think it's in Kyoto. I could be wrong, but I remember seeing that spot, that area, and I definitely think that they shot it in Toei Studios. Anyways, Weird Sister number 3 demands to know where the hell is Hotaro at. Of course, Minato Sensei is not gonna tell her, and he pulls his ring of power and he transforms into his alchemy teacher self, which again, if you have noticed, like when he's in his regular high school teacher mode, he's emo-ish. But when he turns into his alchemist form, he's all clean and serious and happy. Like, yeah, I think you like being an alchemist more than a high school teacher. But anyways, they have their fight. Minato Sensei unleashes his ninjas, and mind you, if whoever is Weird Sister number 3 either is the actress herself or a stunt double, I have to say, she is an excellent fighter. She really kicks ass. Like, she quickly does away with these ninjas. I'm impressed, really. All the while, you see Hotaro in a samurai getup, and Kudo, I think also a samurai or a ninja, and Hotaro is taking pictures of her, and then all of a sudden, Hopper 1 senses danger. It takes them to the same area as Weird Sister number 3 and Minato Sensei. Weird Sister number 3 is happy to see Hotaro, that she unleashes her new malgam on him, and it's one of the prisoners she helped escape. He transforms into a tree malgam, and then all of a sudden he grows into a giant tree, and then Hotaro's like, okay, there's a Kemi that I need to rescue, so don't worry. And he tries to take out his cards, and then he realized, oh right, I didn't bring my cards with me. Hotaro, again, you're so stupid. And so the tree malgam just goes after mini Hotaro, and he was like, oh great, a giant tree is going after me, he's trying to kill me. Luckily for him, you have Kudo to the rescue. She has 2 Kemi cards on her, and she lends it to him, and he uses it to have a new form, which is named the Bat King Robo. He turns into a giant sword, and again, the graphics looks terrible. It looks cheap. So the giant malgam tree versus a Zord, and they have their mini version of Godzilla versus King Kong, and plus Pacific Rim, all in one. And you see all the people in Kyoto just watching this shit show watching this shit show unfold. As they're fighting, you see Kajiki, who decides to follow his crush, and discovers that his crush is hugging another man with handcuffs. So what does that tell you? Yeah, Kajiki is gonna get his heart crushed by the end of the next episode. Yep. Um, so we get into the final act of this episode where Hotaro is enjoying himself being a Zord and all, and he unleashes his fever attack on the giant tree, and he decides to unleash another attack, but unfortunately, it loses power. He falls into the ground, he demorphs, and of course, the tree malgam returns to his normal size and quickly, gets Hotaro and came really close to snapping his neck. But, Renge and Sabi to the rescue! And of course, Dash. The bike really rammed into the monster. You have Sabi just throwing one of the cards to Hotaro, and it's the train card. Hotaro is very excited. Oh, I miss you. I miss you. I'm like, dude, again, you should have taken your cards with you on this trip. But you being stupid, of course. But my god, I just don't like Hotaro as a character. I really don't. But anyways, he transforms into his base slash champion form, and that's the end of the episode. I mean, nothing much happened here except the Weird Sisters creating a dark driver. Um, Kajiki has a crush. There's a UFO in Kyoto. Hotaro gets a new form. Hopper 1 decides to sneak inside the backpack to just go and visit Kyoto. Spanner is, of course, demanding answers, which he will never get, especially this early in the season. Anything else? I think that's it, but I mean, Kudo being Kudo, as wooden as ever, but I believe that's it. That's all this episode was meh. I mean, I'm glad to see, Kyoto, because it's the same area that was shot during the Fose days, if you remember. Yeah, so it just brought back memories. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all I can really say right now. Thank you so much for listening, and also let me know, have you seen the episode? And if so, did you like the episode or did you dislike it? And also let me know if I missed anything, because even though I have my notes in front of me, I tend to miss a couple of things. So please, write in the comments below. Give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And I'll see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Johnny!